The addition of video to product pages has scaled our conversion rate by an incremental 10 or 20%. It's hard to fathom because typically most retailers merchandise video as like the last piece in an image carousel, but people don't like to read. They want to be told, be surprised and delighted. Leveraging that video format in the short, condensing it to 30 seconds has been really big for us.
You may not know exactly what Soft-Tex is, but chances are you've seen or even own a Soft-Tex product. That's because Soft-Tex is a B2B2C company that provides products to retailers like Walmart, Amazon, Bed Bath & Beyond, Macy's, and many more. The company specializes in sleep products like pillows, mattress toppers, mattresses, mattress pads, or anything else you might need in your bedroom to help you get a good night's sleep. But Soft-Tex doesn't only ship to their retail partners. In recent years, the company has used its e-commerce and drop shipping capabilities in an effort to get even more in the lives of consumers. On this episode of Up Next in Commerce, Taylor Jones, the Vice President of Marketing for Soft-Tex, explains how the company is creating a collaborative partnership with retailers while also exploring and consulting in the world of e-commerce. He explains the ways in which Soft-Tex goes about ensuring successful product launches, including the exact number of reviews he thinks is the sweet spot, why SEO and product usage videos are the ultimate keys to success, and the need for an Amazon strategy and what that looks like. Enjoy this episode.
Up Next in Commerce is brought to you by Salesforce Commerce Cloud. Respond quickly to changing customer needs with flexible e-commerce connected to marketing, sales, and service. Deliver intelligent commerce experiences your customers can trust across every channel. Together, we're ready for what's next in commerce. Learn more at salesforce.com/commerce. Hey everyone, and welcome back to your number one show on all things e-commerce. I'm your host, Stephanie Postles, and today we have Taylor Jones on the show, the VP of Marketing and E-commerce at Soft-Tex International. Taylor, welcome.
Hey, Stephanie. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. I'm feeling a little bit sleepy now thinking about all the nice products you guys have that are centered around sleep. I'd love for you to dive a bit into what is Soft-Tex International and how did you come to the company?
Yeah, we'd love to hook you up first off.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So at Soft-Tex, we're really serious about sleep and home comfort products. I think for a long time, the company has been a leader in memory foam and cooling technologies and just everything to help you get a better night's sleep and, live a comfortable and better life. I came to the company about 3 years ago. I have deep digital experience, worked for a company called Red Ventures here in Charlotte. Maybe you've heard of them. Then for another company in the call center space, Rise Virtual Solutions. And from some mutual connections, found this role at Soft-Tex and started, really owning the e-commerce business for them. And it's blossomed into a larger marketing role, including e-commerce still.
That's great. So how do I think about Soft-Tex? Because maybe a normal consumer maybe hasn't heard of them. So how do I think about how big the company is, who their partners are, how you guys sell? Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so Soft-Tex is really a B2B2C company. And Soft-Tex is the entity that would be known to our retail partners. So think about Macy's, Bed Bath & Beyond, JCPenney, Walmart, Amazon, the whole gamut of retail we supply with bedding, pillows, toppers, mattresses, mattress pads, protection, anything that is in the bedroom that's, that you'd sleep on, we probably make it. We have a direct to consumer presence that we work with, bedpillows.com. We also, have a robust, drop ship capability. So it's not just we sell in bulk to a retailer. We do that absolutely, but we do, as a core capability, have drop ship to over 50 partners.
Wow. So it seems like there's an interesting mix where, you're trying to market for yourself, you're doing direct to consumer, you have your retail partners. How do you think about managing these relationships and also not cannibalizing yourself at the same time?
Right. So I would say, our partnership with bedpillows.com is emerging. It's a delicate balance for folks in our position because we supply, our retail partners, we absolutely don't want to compete with them. Ultimately, those relationships are very important to us, and we build custom products. So it's a very collaborative process with our brick and mortar retail partners, and the branding that goes into all of our different channels. Soft-Tex, we have about 5 or 6 national or licensed brands that we supply product under, or we'll develop product under a private label to kind of mitigate some of the brand conflicts or sales channel conflicts that may arise with selling our products.
Very cool. And are you helping your partners when it comes to digitally marketing, the mattresses and the pillows? Like, are you helping improve their e-commerce strategy? Because I could see you having a lot of insights into different brands and their strategies and what they're doing to maybe share that knowledge and help each other out.
Absolutely. So the role we play with the e-commerce team is a consultative role in that aspect, in that we're able to see over the wall. We supply our product to the 50 different partners that I mentioned. So we can see some really interesting things that, maybe somebody over here is doing in merchandising, our assortment, with features, attributes, something cool on the product description page. And, we can make that suggestion, to someone else who maybe has not done that yet.
That's great. So what are some learnings or key things that you see happening on these e-commerce sites where you're like, here's some good best practices that anyone could implement, or I see this working really well right now, or maybe it wasn't working 6 months ago? Like, what kind of lessons are you seeing throughout all these brands that you work with?
I think the concept of review syndication and review seeding is very important. Obviously, authenticity is critical, and you don't want to see fake reviews. But when you have a new product, accelerating the process through which consumers can experience the product and write a review and leave a review such that it exists as social proof, for other customers who see that product, is so important to getting a product, off on the good foot. We've seen, in the home comfort space, 10 to 15 reviews seems to be a sweet spot for a new product introduction to really help accelerate its growth.
Oh yeah, completely agree on there. How do you encourage reviews?
There are review seeding partners out there. There's companies, that you can do seeding programs with. Bazaar Voice is a big one in our space. They have a really interesting service where you can collect reviews if you have a direct to consumer presence and syndicate those reviews. And they also have a network of folks that exist to, you can nominate your products and folks will order it to sample your product. And those reviews can get syndicated out to retailers that, on the flip side, are members of the Bazaar Voice syndication network. So we've seen retailers who participate in that really scale up quickly on our products.
Very cool. So they're not really having to do as much of the heavy lifting, because essentially a consumer would review a product and that review can be used multiple times. Is that how to think about it?
Yeah. So through like a seeded review, say we did 10 reviews, those same 10 reviews would appear on Macy's, on JCPenney, on Kohl's, all at the same time versus, if someone visited Macy's and bought the product and reviewed it, obviously that review would be owned by Macy's and only show there. So, as much as we can do to, help reviews go as many places as possible, that's been very helpful.
That makes sense. So when it comes to, I'm thinking about mattresses and buying mattresses. For a while,
Sure.
everyone wanted to lay on them and sit on them and see how they feel. And now with the market evolving, especially with the pandemic and everyone, being a little bit more comfortable with ordering online, what kind of shifts have you seen? Like, do you see consumer expectations increasing, consumer demands increasing on the sellers? Like, what are you seeing happening behind the scenes right now?
So, I mean, for our products, from basic bedding, so everything non-mattress and the mattress, it's been through the roof. I think, folks want a fresh and clean sleeping environment. Especially cleanliness is top of mind. With COVID. In fact, Soft-Tex, my company, announced a deeper partnership with Thomson Research Associates. They make an antimicrobial technology called UltraFresh, but the market is hot right now for all bedding products. And I think, from the customer experience point that you're kind of hitting at, do you need to touch and feel the product in order to feel confident in purchasing it? Certainly bedding is a very tactile and personal experience, and the same pillow or mattress that's great for me may not work for you, right? But I think we've seen folks through warranties and trial periods that the industry has, particularly on the mattresses, pretty much 100-night sleep trial guarantee in some form or the other is a standard now. But from a pillow or topper or other product standpoint, maybe there's not that trial period, but being as descriptive as possible in the images, the copy, using enhanced content, and the importance of video is so important. Badged attributes, iconography, to really recreate that story and experience without doing everything you can without the consumer touching the product, and that way I kind of joke with folks at my company that I have like the hardest job, right? I have to convince people to buy something that's highly personal and tactile that they will have never touched.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. What kind of best practices have you seen around creating videos? Because that's something that a lot of companies are leaning into right now, but especially for, like a mattress or something. What are you seeing work when it comes to videos for the products?
Yeah, so I think the concept of video can take a number of forms. YouTube is the second largest search engine. So, you can do a ton of explainer videos or keyword optimized videos, to try and, drum up search traffic to your products. But you can also leverage video, in particular, like the 30-second to a minute product video, to help drive conversion. And I think, that's been a huge thing that we've seen. The addition of video to product pages has scaled our conversion rate by an incremental 10 or 20%.
Wow.
It's hard to fathom, because typically most retailers merchandise video as like the last piece in an image carousel, right? But people, don't like to read. They want to be told, and be surprised and delighted. And so, leveraging that video format in a short, condensing it to 30 seconds has been really big for us. And I think, stylistically, it's very on brand for us. Like the videos that we've done, like, Softex is a very innovative company with emphasizing technology, cooling. I mentioned antimicrobial. So our videos come off as very techy, with graphics, lower thirds that, pop up. So I think, making sure your videos are on brand and authentic to your brand voice, clearly and concisely conveying the product value proposition. In our space, it's really, how are we different than everybody else selling a mattress or a pillow? There's thousands of options.
Yep. Are you making the videos for your brand partners where they all are kind of using the same one? Or are you customizing them where you're like, Bed Bath & Beyond, this kind of video works better, versus Macy's, they have a different kind of clientele and we're going to make a different video for them? Or are they making their own?
Absolutely great question, Stephanie. So, for private label products that are, or we have some national brands that we offer exclusively to certain retailers. Obviously, those are customized, and we work with retail partners like Bed Bath & Beyond and Macy's on art direction, model considerations. We work with them on developing a storyboard and get it approved by them before we, film it.
Got it. That makes sense. The one thing I was thinking about when we were mentioning direct to consumer, how you guys were going about that route right now, I was thinking about a very large mattress brand who I think recently IPO'd. And a lot of people were talking about their negative unit costs. And I was wondering, how are you guys thinking about that with your direct to consumer strategy? Like, are you willing to have negative margins to add a new customer? Or how do you think about the digital growth around that?
The way we've thought about it in a lot of ways is in the concept of, getting reviews on Amazon is so critical to helping ramp up. So, if you're giving a discount or something that you may be selling your product at a loss initially to help gain those reviews and, gain some initial sales traction initially. I think it has to be for a finite period of time, right? That you turn the corner and have a clear path to profitability. You can't just do it indefinitely, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there are definitely values to doing it in that, you get your brand out there, you get some exposure. User-generated content is so powerful right now. I think if the world is telling us anything, so the power of social media and viral media, the same can be true for user-generated content and reviews. If you get a really good review or a really bad one, people can upvote them. They're always going to be there, right? So important.
Yeah, that makes sense. So is there any kind of model that you develop around like, we're okay with going in the negative for this amount of time with this campaign? Or is there any models that you build to influence those decisions around adding new customers?
In terms of the review thing, it's still an algorithm that we're working out. What's the right quantity of review that moves the needle, towards a product being successful. That's mostly in our space, right? Like, when you're syndicating in a retail environment, so products sold across many retailers, because really, like, the review is a key way to optimize. Like, each retailer has its own search engine, right? Now, if you're your own brand, right, selling direct to the consumer, it's a different calculus. You have your own tolerance with whoever's providing your investment. If you're, going to go negative for a time, what is the strategy? How do you become cash flow positive in the industry? A lot of these just e-commerce mattress in a box guys, really, they're marketing companies. If you think about it, there's a lot of articles, a lot of them are made by the same folks in terms of manufacturers and who pours the foam, et cetera.
Yeah, that's really interesting to think about. I'm sure I have three different brands of mattresses in our house, but I'm pretty sure they're probably all the same or made from the same
cut
people.
from the same cloth. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. They all feel pretty similar. How do you think about returns for something as large as a mattress? Or, I'm thinking about like furniture companies and stuff. How have you seen some brands lower their return rates? Like, what are some best practices around that?
For the industry, for the mattress in a box, like, we've seen return rates average out between 10 and 15%, including like the comfort trials and everything, right? When you're a direct to consumer mattress in a box guy, that has to be factored into your pricing. Some other things that we've seen, creative ways to save the sale. A lot of one of the big complaints with sleep products is maybe the bed is too firm. So maybe maybe you'd send a topper or something to make the mattress more plush, as a method to, save returning the mattress. Because ultimately, right, wrong, or indifferent, in the mattress industry, once somebody slept on a bed, you can't resell it. It's just one of those things. People don't buy a used mattress.
So we were talking about how a lot of the, brands that maybe we think are unique, maybe are utilizing the same types of, underlying materials and things like that. So they're kind of similar. I saw that you guys sell on Amazon. Are you ever worried that Amazon could just, knock you off and just make a mattress that's so similar that, it's maybe not beneficial to be on there? Or what's your reason for selling products on there?
So many things nowadays, if you're searching for a product, folks don't just begin on Google anymore. There's a large contingent of the population that are Prime subscribers and really begin the product search phase on Amazon. So I think you pretty much have to be there to have the share of voice, whether you like it or not. I think for us, Amazon's a growing partner. Certainly, it's hard. We have a lot of rebates and allowances with them from a margin standpoint. And I'm sure you've heard this from many folks. It's hard to find products that, you can be profitable. Brands have to make a decision to have an Amazon strategy. It's something that it is delicate. Obviously, retailers are very sensitive to being comped on Amazon.
Yep.
So it's a very nuanced, delicate road that we kind of walk. We have an assortment that we have on Amazon, but we also offer exclusive products to other channels that we don't offer to Amazon.
Got it. Is there any other advice that you would give when it comes to selling on Amazon, but making sure that it's beneficial? Like you said, one idea is keeping exclusive content to where not everything you offer is all on Amazon. But is there anything else that you all do where you're like, this works well?
Yeah, I think, really it's ensuring that you're being thoughtful about your assortment if you're selling on multiple outlets. We've learned in our experience that Amazon is a price follower. We're a first-party vendor. Obviously, many of your listeners may be third-party sellers where they set the retail price. But as a first-party vendor, we have a wholesale price that we give to Amazon, and there are, like I mentioned, rebates and allowances. But ultimately, they then retail it to make a profit or not in some cases. And, they're pretty aggressive in price scraping and seeing what others are doing and, commanding the market share, to come to them. If they see a lower price out in the market, they will likely try and beat it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, you just have to be prepared before you open that floodgate. If that's your strategy, making sure that you're ready to enforce or de-inventory Amazon as needed. I think, certainly if you're a third-party seller on Amazon, you're in much more control of your destiny in that respect, as you set the retail yourself.
And that completely makes sense. In terms of SEO, I'm thinking it's pretty tricky for you guys to, you want your brands to be seen as leaders, but then you also want yourself to be seen as leaders. What kind of SEO tactics do you all use for yourself and your brands?
A great question. I totally think, in our space in particular, features and attributes are more important than the brand overall in terms of, the search volume. Obviously, if you build a brand, which obviously we all are in the business of doing, you can build search volume that way. But, most of our SEO strategy exists around, trying to optimize and rank for generic keywords, based on the features and benefits of each product. For us, the brand story and value proposition is more of a conversion factor rather than, a volume driver, if you will. We, as a company, have invested more in building a robust e-commerce interface, to target that non-branded search term versus, paying money for our brands to be, the most searched today. That's not to say that, our brands aren't, don't have an impressive story and value proposition, but I think, part of that comes into cost, right? A brand that, spends a lot in marketing, like a direct-to-consumer mattress that may retail for, $1,000, queen size, roughly. You have a very similar product that we offer under one of our brands, through a Macy's or JCPenney or, Walmart, Amazon, that retails, for $350 to $400. Is there much difference in the product? I would say they're very similar in terms of feature and attributes, but it comes down to advertising and price point, right?
So what have you seen works? Like, how do you win?
Each retailer is its own search engine, and each retailer's algorithm for the sort that they show when somebody types in a pill, I'm searching for memory foam pillows or pillows or mattresses, is a little different. They take into account different factors. All of them leverage the trailing sales history, review quality. So, is your product good? Is it, 4 stars or better? Are you getting reviews recently? So review count and frequency and recency. And then how does it relate to the query that was searched? So, for example, there's a lot of back-end keywords that we look to put with our products. And we've really gone through and looked to optimize those to make sure that we're calling out things like, if a product is antimicrobial, is it tagged appropriately? Or if it's, got some certifications or whatever it is, such that when you're searching on a retailer, if you're typing in the keyword or leveraging a checkbox menu, and a faceted navigation, that we're optimized to show as much as we can.
Got it. So how are you finding new brands who would be willing to work with you on selling your product? Like, are you marketing to them? Are you approaching them directly, cold email? Like, how do you find new partners in your space?
Yeah, it's a great question. A lot of our business is, if you put it into 2 buckets, hunting and farming. It is farming. You bring new ideas and new product and new concepts to the same folks you've been dealing with. We absolutely, have hunting strategies as well. Honestly, I think Soft-Tex has taken a position as an industry leader of research. We've undertaken a bedding industry research initiative, both of bedding buyer trends. Like, we work with, many retail partners, and especially during COVID times, we've been able to survey our partners on what they're seeing and aggregate the results and provide that as a free service that I think has been really valuable to folks in the industry. And then also not just industry or kind of retailer, B2B information, but what the consumer is looking for in bedding today. We've actually just completed, a large scale research initiative, for bedding consumer tastes and preferences in 2020.
Very cool. And are you plugging in some of your products, as it's like, consumers are very interested in cleanliness going forward. And what do you know? We have an antimicrobial product.
It's absolutely the type of feedback loop that fuels our product development cycle. So in our bedding buyer survey, so we just got the results back on that. As you might imagine, anything with fresh and clean attributes has been on a positive sales trend. And we've long, for a long time, had antimicrobial infusions and treatments in our products. But, obviously, we're ramping that up now, given, the favorable sales trend that it's seeing. But we're looking forward to, kind of seeing the full landscape of what, consumers are shopping for, how they shop, as that's in constant flux, especially with, COVID and beyond. I think, consumers are more comfortable shopping online increasingly daily. More and more orders are for all of e-commerce, not just bedding, are taking place, digitally.
Yeah. Do you think this is a longer term trend? And if so, how have you guys kind of shifted your strategy? Like, what things are you planning on doing differently or changing going forward?
I think, like I mentioned, we've done a great job at Softex in optimizing our product pages and the end retailer optimization. We are making the investment now in kind of that top of funnel or off of retailer sites, discoverability. So we want people to have our brands enter the consideration phase earlier in the process versus, just see them on a retailer site and click on them. So we're definitely investing there because we do see, the shift towards e-commerce increasingly as a long-term trend. Just, rough numbers that I had looked at before this podcast. When I started at Soft-Tex, e-commerce was, just under 10% of the total business.
Wow. That was 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, that was in 2017, and I think ultimately even then we were under indexed as a company. This year, just given how the trends are going and how we're pacing, it's looking 35 to 40%. So a really big, and that's not to say that the brick and mortar piece or other channels of business, have shrunk terribly either. It's just grown that much just organically as well.
With that much growth, I'm thinking about your tech stack now. And I saw a quote on some article where you said, our approach is working and we believe that the tech stack we've built is well positioned for continued growth. So what does your tech stack look like? What are you guys investing in? What kind of platform are you using? What does it look like behind the scenes?
Product information management and taxonomy, and really taking control of your data as the expert of whatever product you make is so critical. Before I started, all of our product data was in 50 million Excel sheets, right? And now it's much more systematized, and also not to mention different retail partners require different fields, and everybody's setup process is a little different. Whereas, before that was kind of institutional knowledge and, it lived with a person. Now that lives with a platform. So that's a huge process improvement that we've made. Digital asset management is so critical, particularly from being able to rapidly get new images out to, different syndication platforms, but also test. I think we've done a lot and pushed the envelope on image standards. We talked about how we can, play a consultative role with retail partners. We'd seen some really nice boosts when we added some badges to images, as kind of trust symbols, like, if something was featured on Better Homes and Gardens, sticking that, in the bottom right-hand corner. Sometimes that's been a little tough because certainly main images get picked up in Google Shopping, and there's some rules against how much text can be in the image. But that worked well for a time when we were able to get it approved. From a tech stack standpoint, email marketing, that's super important. Leveraging, and also, of course, social, being able to, leverage all of our digital assets and kind of brand voice and value, getting it out there consistently to the customer as well has been really important.
What kind of metrics do you look at for success around whether it's your B2B type of backend or like your e-commerce platform? What metrics are you reviewing to see if things are going well?
An early indication, SKU count. So how many SKUs do we have in our assortment, and how many places are they set up? Obviously, if we have 1,000 SKUs, they should all be 50 places, ideally, right? For full SKU syndication. Certainly, not every retailer is going to take every SKU that we have. A lot of retailers still have more of a curated assortment versus an endless aisle. Certainly, I think we see value in an endless aisle because of how we differentiate our products. Literally, we try to create every product to be a little different. to have a little bit of a, unique feature and value proposition. So, that concept that, there's something for everyone, right? So SKU count, a very important metric, ultimately total sales, obviously, unit sales, and how a retailer's trending, particularly ramping up like impression volume, how many people are getting to a product page. And certainly, for folks listening, they're probably like, well, how do you get that? Not every retailer provides that information, but you certainly, can leverage, tools out there like on Amazon. There's intelligence tools to look at, how many views your products are getting and other things of that nature. Being able to just check that and see the demand for your product over time is very important. Other metrics that we, really look at when we give discounts, how things perform, because ultimately a lot of things come back to the law of supply and demand, right? We might have a price in our mind where we think something should be, but that's not the price that the consumer wants to pay for a product. So, finding that right price that moves the volume, through discounts, and just finding that equilibrium is interesting. And then obviously we talked about reviews a lot, review count and quality. The quality is a big feedback loop that we take very seriously in terms of, working with our quality assurance and customer service teams, to make sure that, we don't have an issue. And we're very proud, that our products, have about a 4.7, 4.8 aggregate rating.
That's great.
What works for one person doesn't for another. So you might think that a pillow, if left long enough to its own devices, might net out around a 3. So the fact that, we're at like a 4.8 overall is really encouraging.
No, that's awesome. So do any of your partners right now not have an e-commerce platform? I'm thinking there must be some people who don't. Like, how do you work differently with them if they only have a retail location versus your e-commerce partners?
Yeah, there are. And, sometimes, e-commerce is challenging to jump into. It can seem daunting for folks that aren't doing it because you're talking about things at the each level versus, big old fat POs that the way retail used to run, right? That order a bunch to a warehouse and it get distributed. So, there's a lot of implications to that, especially when you're talking about commitments for a product. With e-commerce and dropship, it's the risk is inherently on the supplier or the vendor. There's no risk for the retailer, right? The retailer's like, oh, sure, I'll put it up on my website, but you're inventorying it, right? You're going to ship it for me just when I sell it. So a lot of companies, that's the biggest objection, I think, is, without a hard commitment or a retailer to commit to bulk units up front, maybe if they don't have that, they won't offer it for e-commerce. They won't bring it in because they don't have that driver to pull them into it. Because it's very easy, if a retailer's ordering, 10,000 units of something to, pepper in a few thousand more for e-commerce while we're at it. But if e-commerce is the first channel you're thinking about, it can be a riskier equation.
Do you see that changing going forward? Like, do you see a lot of these brands thinking about now going online?
Yeah, I mean, even within Soft-Tex, it's changing, right? We have now for, within the past couple of years, now digital first product, whereas, not saying that my commerce department was a recycling bin before, but pulling off of the success of things in brick and mortar was really what drove e-commerce previously, which is not necessarily a bad strategy. But I think today, for innovation and new product, more and more stuff, you just have to, if you're confident in it, you have to commit and leverage on e-commerce.
Yep. Yeah, completely agree. So I saw you guys had some showrooms, I think, for your product. How are you all thinking about that?
Yeah, so we have permanent showrooms in New York and Las Vegas, and participate in market events where we host, the buyers from many different retail partners. So much of that, the importance of an in-person event has been blown up now through COVID. We went through a virtual market in March, which obviously is hard to convey everything through a video, but we had fun doing it, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. But that whole concept has been a challenge, right? Being able to find that dedicated time to get in front of your customers and have them, if anything, particularly for stores, it's all about creating an experience to surprise and delight. Those buyers really want to feel the product and experience it to ensure that it's worth, that it will monetize that floor space that it will take up. So, with the first touch point being a virtual video, that can be a challenge sometimes. But, we're adapting, through virtual markets, mailing samples for Zoom calls to review them. But it certainly has been different. It looks like, the Las Vegas market furniture show was pushed back. But it's likely that, at least for us, it's virtual still, just given everything that's going on. So, and many of our customers are, you've seen probably the announcements, like a lot of travel moratoriums, some through the end of the year, they've already come out and said so. I think home products and more folks will spend money through e-commerce on home and other products that they're not spending on travel.
Are you thinking about incorporating these virtual strategies going forward? Like, is it something even when the pandemic's over that you're like, this is working well, I want to, we might try this out in the future and use it for, an initial targeting effort to then retarget them to an in-person event afterwards? Or how are you thinking about that marketing strategy going forward?
Yeah, I think it's something that, we're definitely going to do. Something that we had been doing, I guess, even before. We would do video walkthroughs of our showroom and our virtual experience with an industry publication called Home Textiles Today. But, for the most recent market, we produced the virtual market video ourselves. So, leveraging either internal or, partner capabilities, we still think it's very important to address that. I mean, there's always going to be people that, can't come to an event, forget COVID times. So it's always good to have that digital touch point to be able to send to them. To your point, it absolutely can sit on our website and exist as a lead generation tool as well, for people to, sign up to see our latest innovation and then fill out a lead form and then go watch the video.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of opportunity there for content that is being created now that maybe wouldn't have been thought of before everything that was going on.
Right. It's a delicate situation because a lot of, what we produce for a trade show like that and our competitors is very future looking and conceptual. So, there is a level of security. Most of what we sell at a trade show is not yet fully commercialized. Sometimes it is, but in many cases it's like, this is brand new technology and we're introducing it here. So, there's also a dimension of, yes, we want people to see it, but no, we don't want everyone to see it,
Yep. Yeah. It's gotta be a little bit, get a little FOMO there, make it a secret.
That's right.
So you're at an interesting intersection between B2B and B2C. Is there anything that you wish existed right now in the e-commerce space or technology-wise, or you're like, we're struggling with this right now, that you could see getting better in the future or that you hope to get better?
We have some partners now that help us provide kind of, really high quality CGI imagery. Obviously that's been around, but, making that process easier. it takes a lot of work to stage a live photo and video shoot, especially for our product class. So, that's something that we're looking to get better at, such that we can, as we commercialize new products, we don't have to have, crazy processes to stage a photo and video shoot. Certainly there's value to that, and we will continue to use it. We have to use live folks for a lot of things in models and videos, but for the static, just e-commerce imagery, getting those images up front can really increase our speed to market. I would think the other thing that perhaps we're missing today is really seeing an aggregation of reviews across platforms. So obviously we see reviews that are syndicated, but we don't always see every review out there. So getting notified when there's a negative review in particular, so such that we can see, is it just a one-off, somebody just didn't like it, or is it the start of a trend of some sort? That happens very seldom with us, fortunately, but it's always good to be on the forefront. The more automation that's out there, the better. And we've done a really good job, I think, building out that partners with the scraping capability to monitor, our product pages, and also, with advertising as well.
Very cool. Yeah, that's two very useful things that I'm sure a lot of people will be looking for going forward as well. So we have a couple minutes left, and I do not want to let you get out of the lightning round.
Okay.
So let me know if you're ready, and we can start that, Taylor.
Let's do it.
All right. The lightning round, it's brought to you by Salesforce Commerce Cloud. It's where I'm going to ask you a question, and you have a minute or less to answer. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. First one. What's the next sleep product that you're excited about buying, or what are you most excited about right now?
CBD pillows.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Yeah. So our CBD, we're really proud of the chemistry. It's micro encapsulated into the cover. So with body pressure, and as you toss and turn as you sleep, the capsules break open and release the CBD up through the fabric, and it's absorbed in the CBD receptors in the skin.
Oh my gosh, that sounds very interesting. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah. So coming next quarter.
Cool. I'll be on the lookout for that. What's up next on your reading list or Audible?
That's a really great question. I don't read as much as I should. I'm mostly a reader of the news. I don't read enough fiction. Sometimes it's good for a diversion, especially during COVID times, right?
Yeah, we'll have to find one for you then. I'll source one and let you know.
Yes, please.
What's up next on your Netflix queue?
Ozark. We just started. It's been really intense. So my wife is a mental health counselor, and I have some stressful days at work. So we both agreed it's pretty much a weekend thing, because it's so intense we can't watch it after.
Yes, I agree. You got to balance that out. Put on a Disney movie or something.
Exactly.
And the last one, what one thing will have the biggest impact on e-commerce in the next year?
I think more and more people will leverage, Siri or Alexa or the Google voice piece for, searching on stuff. I think, particularly like so much of our population is aging. For whatever reason, when I see somebody have a question, I see them using the voice search the most, like my grandparents, that demographic. I think as it gets better, we'll see it used more and more.
Yeah, completely agree. Who wants to type anymore? Too much work. I like that.
I know. That's right.
Well, Taylor, it's been a blast having you on. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Where can people find out more about you and Soft-Tex International?
Yeah, so you can check us out on the web at Softex.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. You could also check out any of our brands like Sensorpedic, Sensorgel, or Biopedic. And, for me personally, I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter, Taylor Jones. There's a lot of Taylor Joneses, but I'm out there.
We will link you up. We will find you.
Okay.
Don't worry. All right. Well, thanks so much, Taylor, and we will talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks so much, Stephanie. This is great.
Up Next in Commerce is brought to you by Salesforce Commerce Cloud and created by the team at mission.org. Subscribe now at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts.